Good morning. I'm so glad you're here because today we come to the conclusion of our series, Mission Disciple. And I hope and pray that what you have found is that this series has been far more than just information, that it's been a great encouragement to you. Because as a disciple, what great privileges are given to us. That we are people who are continually dependent upon the God of the universe, that we are people who are constantly learning and growing in ways of the spiritual and the eternal, that we are people who are expectant, that we live with a hope that carries us through the most difficult of situations. But this morning we come to that final D, the final D meaning deployed. And my fear is that there are those of you whom I say, oh, okay, so here's where it comes down to something I got to do, something that I've got to add to my already overfilled schedule. Now, please hear me. Do you remember what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5? He said, you are the light of the world. Not something you try to go out and do, you just are. I've said it many times through the series, you are a disciple. And therefore, if you are a disciple, you are deployed. Well, like how? Well, in the service this morning, we're going to cover 4 different categories. But let me just highlight some of these things for you this morning. For example, you can be deployed, or you are deployed, right in your family. Because let's face it, we all live somewhere. Whether it's a condominium, an apartment, a house. And where I live, I need to be a deployed disciple. And so I developed this mindset to see where God would want to use me, whether it's with regards to my wife, whether it's regard to my children, whether it's regard to others that live within my family unit, that I want to impact and touch them and help them to see Jesus. And let's face it, folks, it's not just the family, because wherever we live, most of our homes, condominiums, are in a neighborhood. And so we've got neighbors living all around us. I've not yet gotten into the homes of the people that live around me, but one of the things that I do is when I walk my dog, I pray for them. And I can enter their homes through that magnificent gift of prayer. And then I'll bump into one of my neighbors and I'll say, you know, I pray for you. You got anything specific? The man over there just lost his job. He wants me to pray about that. Family across the street, their son's struggling in school, so I pray for him. The crossing guard, I just stop and chat with her about her college son and what he's going to do after school. But there's all sorts of ways of doing social networking just where I live and being a deployed disciple. Many of you have families, you've got children, you're involved in schools, you go to the playground. Prime opportunities to strike up relationships with other mothers and fathers, going into the school, for example, on school programs. Have you ever thought of going to the teacher and saying, you know, you got a really big job. I'd like to pray for you. How might I do that? There you go. Children give you an opportunity for social networking. Well, another way in which we are deployed, and I think this one's pretty obvious, is at work. There are a number of us that work in an office building, at a store, in a factory, and guaranteed not everyone that works around you knows about Jesus. And there are opportunities, if we are listening, if our eyes are open, where we can be a disciple in an effort to disciple another. So it's not like we have to add something to our schedule. It's just a matter of listening, being sensitive to the Spirit, the prompting of His work in our lives, and the opportunities around us. One of the interesting things that Francis Chan said at the workshop we were at a week or so ago was, how do you know that somebody is ready to be approached with the gospel? He says, they're standing there next to you. God has put them in your world. But it's just being sensitive to the opportunities that God gives you. We are deployed at work. So a fourth way that we can be deployed, and some of our people already are, is in a cross-cultural context. Interestingly enough, right next door to us is a center of cross-cultural life like we probably can't fathom. You can hear the children in the background where we've got relationships with them through our ministry here. We've got the homework club. We've got the soccer clubs. We got many ways of engaging with them, either through ESL assistance or citizenship classes. If you're looking for a way of connecting with people that you don't really know, I mean, right next door. But my guess is in your own neighborhood. There are people that come from other parts of the world, maybe struggle with English. There's a way for you to connect with them. We are a people who are deployed to be God's light to our world. So I would imagine some of you are wondering, what's with that lantern that you've been carrying all around the city? Well, obviously it's an illustration. Here I am talking to you in a darkened room. We are deployed in a darkened world. But watch what happens when one deployed light is lit. And to see how much light is added to this room. My brothers and sisters, we are deployed. I'm not asking you to add more to your schedule, to sign up for another activity or busyness. Jesus says we are the light of the world. What we need to do is go out with the power of the Spirit and just look for those opportunities that God brings our way. And then take those opportunities, whether they be in our family, whether they be in our social network, they might be at work, they might be cross-cultural, but they're there. Let's be deployed because we are the light.